Hello there, you are welcome to this edition of Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. Here are the top stories. West African power pool to synchronize networks of 14 ECOWAS countries. Yandef transmission substation upgraded to evacuate power from 40 megawatts Kashimbila plant. TCN management visits Jigawa State Governor, commits to delivering bulk power transmission projects. We'll bring you all the reports and more shortly. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The West African Power Pool, WAP, says it is working assiduously to synchronize the interconnected power systems of 14 countries of the West African member states, which is currently operating 3 separate networks into a single reliable network.
The Managing Director, CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and Chairman Board of Directors of WAP, Mr. Usman Gul Mohammed, disclosed this when he declared open a 3-day meeting on synchronization of WAP networks in Abuja.
The government and the people of West Africa have agreed, actually, that we are not only trying to even interconnect all the countries in West Africa through the completion of the lines that will be completed by next year. For example, the Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea interconnection will be completed unfailingly next year. Then the Senegal, Mali, Guinea-Bissau, and Gambia line will also be completed next year, which will make it the 14 ECOWAS country will have been interconnected by next year.
The meeting had the theme, tuning of power systems stabilizers, PSS, field testing of governors, change of governor setting, and synchronization of WAP network contracts. Mr. Mohammed noted that the synchronization project was part of WAP's mandate by the authority of the heads of states and governments of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to establish a mechanism for integrating the national power systems of member states into a unified regional electricity market to address the energy needs of citizens.
To achieve this, the entire West African WAP need to be interconnected, which is currently 3 systems, as I earlier told you, islands. Now, a successful, synchronized, and reliable WAP of interconnected power system is very dear to us in the board of WAP, and to me in particular.
He said the project, which is a key component of the regional electricity roadmap, was the most complex to be executed by WAP in terms of scope. Mr. Mohammed therefore appealed to member states to allow the consultant for the project, General Electric GE International, access to the power plant to test the governors, tune their power system stabilizers, and change their setting when necessary, with the ultimate goal of achieving a successful synchronization.
I am hopeful and confident that you, as representatives from your various companies, will work to support the successful execution of this project. Our generation companies here present, GE, will want to have access to your power plant to test your 3 governors.
He noted that the task before the General Electric in the test process is that they would require the assistance of original equipment manufacturers, OEM, to enable them effectively implement the synchronization project.
I appeal to you to give GE all the necessary support and access to your installation to be able to carry out the required tests. This is necessary because if we synchronize the power, the network, all of us will benefit. Because definitely we will have not only a free flow of energy, but we'll also have an economic free flow of energy where we'll be able to reduce the cost of generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity across West Africa.
Earlier in his remarks, The director of WAP Information and Coordination Center, Engineer Nazif Abdulkadir, said the project kickoff meeting between WAP, General Electric International and stakeholders was to officially start the implementation of the project, which is related to power system stabilizer, tuning governor, testing, change of settings, and performing synchronization test.
The World Bank provided the WAP with a grant of $25.5 million under the WAP Technical Assistance and Network Integration Project to, among others, support efforts towards a successful synchronization of the entire WAP interconnected power system.
Abdul Qadir said the synchronization project was based on the study conducted by a consortium that included LIMEA in 2014. General Electric was engaged to implement the recommendation on the installation static via compensator SVE2, tuning governor, testing and change of setting, and other technical measures at the various power plants.
It's my firm belief that your participation in this kick-off meeting will enrich discussions on the project and above all, place you in a better position to provide the much needed support to WAP and GE in executing this project, without which no doubt we cannot fail, we cannot succeed.
Representative of General Electric International, Mr. Eric Anusaga, in his remarks said GE was delighted to be part of the interconnection and synchronization project for the West African region.
This is an honor to be part of this project. WAP is a big achievement in this region, and GE is really honored to be part of the project. It's a challenging project and it's only a milestone, I will say a stone in the big objective to interconnect all the country. And GE is committed to support all the utility and WAP as usual. This is for us just a continuity of what we are already executing on the ICC project, and we will dedicate it the best experts, the best team to be part with you.
The meeting featured presentations on the action plan for the project. Participants were drawn from power utilities in Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Mali, Niger, General Electric International, among others.
The need for interconnected electricity across the West African region has become paramount to stimulate improved access to electricity for the purpose of national development. We urge all member countries to support this noble cause. The 132-33 kilovolt Yandev transmission substation in Benue State has been upgraded to enable it to take bulk power from the new 40 megawatt Kashimbila hydropower plant in Taraba State when the plant is commissioned.
The General Manager, Transmission Enugu Region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Engineer Jack Emucheyi, who briefed the press when officials of the Federal Ministry of Power visited the substation, said the existing substation was upgraded to take the expected increase in bulk electricity from the hydropower plants.
This an existing substation. What we did there was upgrade, expansion. We upgraded the capacity. And then we expand. You can see this.
Engineer Kemucheyi said the transmission substation gets its energy from the Enugu-Makurdi transmission line, adding that the new power plant in Taraba will create a second source of energy for the substation.
This place is connected to Enugu, and now it's being connected to Kashimbila. So it's a grid substation. Before now, we had 30 MVA, 50 MVA, but now you have 60 MVA. You can see 60 MVA there, but have 2 by 60 now.
He noted that the substation expansion project has been completed and was done by the ministry to prepare it for the power evacuation from the 40 megawatt Kashimbila hydropower plants.
The expansion was carried out by the ministry. The military carried out the expansion of the substation. Because the Kashimbila hydro plants, this is an infeed to the grid from Kashimbila hydro plant. Kashimbila is a hydropower plant, 40 megawatts. That is being evacuated to the grid through here, through Yandev. We continue to call Yandev. We want to get substation.
The project manager and deputy director in the Federal Ministry of Power, Engineer Ali Dabshima Abubakar, who briefed the GM of Enugu region, said operators of the transmission line and substations will be trained by the original equipment manufacturers, OEM, on handling the expanded section of the facility.
PAMSEC has approved
for
the training about 20 personnel operators. That is each substation 4. Then we have the 9 people, also the communication. In total, there are 20. They will come here and they will be trained rigorously, even if it will take 6 months, 7 months, till when they are perfectly, trained that they can man the substation before they will leave it.
The substation upgrade is a further boost to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, which is ever ready to will more power for national development. Let's take a break for a message. Please don't go away.
Do not build under transmission power lines for your safety and health. Electricity power lines and substations, either for power transmission or power distribution services, are extremely dangerous when exposed to direct human contact. These power lines and substations transmit electricity that lights up our homes and offices, power our computers, TVs, and refrigerators. On the other hand, the same electricity when exposed is extremely dangerous. It can shock, electrocute, and kill anyone on its way. That is why everyone must adopt safety measures whenever we use or are close to electricity facilities like power lines or substation or transformers. For the safety of the people and animals, governments all over the world have approved way leave or right-of-way of 50 meters for 330 kV power lines and 30 meters for 132 kV power lines, and for 33 kV lines the way leave is 15 meters. People are not expected to be found within this way leave or right-of-way for safety reasons. The lines can suddenly cut and fall to the ground with very disastrous consequences such as fire and electrocution of anybody and destruction of anything, be it vehicle, houses or vegetation on its line. It has also been established that power lines and substation emit electromagnetic fields, EMF, which is dangerous to human health. The World Health Organization, WHO, has warned that people who spend long hours under or close high-tension lines stand the risk of being affected by EMF and be vulnerable to cancer, leukemia in children, miscarriages among pregnant women, and other terrible diseases. It is therefore advisable not to build any structure or operate any business under or near any electricity high-tension lines or substations. TCN wants you to stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy, avoid power lines. This message is from the management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
To strengthen collaboration on power infrastructure delivery, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has paid a courtesy visit on the governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Muhammad Badaru Abubakar.
Speaking during the courtesy visit to the government house in Dutse, the state capital, the managing director CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Muhammad, said the visit was to enable the TCN management appreciate the governor who had partnered to provide access road to the substation being constructed.
Your Excellency, we are happy to be here and I want to thank you for the collaboration we are doing on the Gagarawa. And I want to tell you here that His Excellency on his own took a decision to tie the road into the Gagarawa substation so that it will be easier for us to be able to move the equipment and heavy equipment into the site. We have come actually to thank him for that. Yes, that is part of the collaboration we are doing with the state government and we are happy to commend him.
Mr. Mohammed said TCN has taken strategic measures to accelerate the Gagarawa substation project while assuring that it will be completed soon. He urged the government of the state to partner with TCN on the eligible customer policy, which could allow TCN transmit energy directly to the industry springing in the area to boost development. Speaking about more collaboration efforts, Mr. Mohammed said TCN often embrace such partnerships, especially in resolving issues of transmission lines right of way. In his response, The governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, said he has reached out to the TCN management severally on electricity projects in the state, adding that TCN was always ready to support.
We have worked tirelessly to make sure that the Dakar station is commissioned, and they just promised to do that in the next 2 months, which I believe we will do, because I know why he makes such promises and he came to them. And we look at the state entirely and the industrialization of the state. And for us to quickly industrialize Jigawa, there is urgent need of stable power.
The governor said he is working to ensure there is improved power supply in Kazaure and that TCN has committed to supporting that vision.
As the MD of TCN has appealed, there is the need for more states to collaborate with TCN so that it can deliver power transmission projects to increase the wheeling of bulk electricity to such states. Next is an interview session with engineer Edmond Amobi Eje, the General Manager, Market Operation at the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. Engineer Eje speaks on the strategies for sustaining the culture of discipline in the electricity market for improved service delivery. Take a listen. With the revival of the market discipline embarked upon by the MO, it is believed that the market participants are now living up to their market responsibilities. How sustainable is this?
Now, since we started enforcing the market rule, the Nigerian public has observed that, yes, the distribution companies, although we don't want to concentrate on distribution companies because when we say market participants, it includes the generators, eligible customers, and of course, majorly the distribution companies. And that's why it looks as if we're centering on distribution companies. Now they're living up to expectation. And I can tell you that most of them are now appreciating what we're doing because it makes them to sit up. Sometimes, because there's no regulation or nobody's chastising them, they go to sleep and they believe that at one time or the other the government will come and intervene in the market, and that whatever they are owing the market will always be upset at one time or the other by the government. But now we are trying to tell them it will not continue to be so. If it continues to be so, now the government will regret in any way getting involved in privatization. And what we're doing now is trying to also give government the confidence that, yes, if this market is run well, the way it's supposed to, now there wouldn't be any cause to regret in the privatization. And that's what we're doing. And because some of these schools and the generators, of course, are appreciating what is happening, they have come to the real understanding that if there is discipline, the government will not actually start to think otherwise. Now they appreciate it, they want it to continue, and we believe it will be sustained.
Where do you see the electricity markets in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, given the approach we have taken, which we also believe other agencies will emulate, we believe there will be no cause for alarm. I believe that the market will now begin to obey the market forces of supply and demand. In few years coming, with the introduction of eligible customer tariff, transaction, now what that means is that there will be free entry into the market, of course regulated, and then people would want to go to the generators or even middlemen. The discos themselves can equally go to the generator and negotiate for a volume of energy they want, and it will be given to them. And by so doing, the fulcrum of transitional electricity market, which is a market that is driven by contract, would have been achieved.
At the recent stakeholders workshop in Lagos, you made a graphical presentation indicating that the DISCO's energy demand is drastically declining. Can you expatiate on this?
I had a graph that I presented that shows that somehow the consumption of the DISCOs are declining. If you look at the Nigeria Electricity Development Plan, you see that the DISCOs network, the network is increasing. So to say, in quotes, we want to believe that the DISCOs network is increasing. And of course, from 2004, 2005, you should expect that consumer population is also increasing in all the 11 distribution companies. Now, generation capacity is also increasing. My last estimation gives me around 12,000 megawatts installed capacity, something like that. Transmission company has been expanding. Now, the question is, why is it that transmission is increasing and expanding, ready to evacuate? The generation capacity is increasing. Population, consumer population is also increasing, but the demand is nosediving. I try to tell the audience at the stakeholders workshop that until this Nordic question is answered, the market is not developing anywhere. Why is it that people are still crying, we don't see the electricity, we don't see the electricity, generation capacity is there, evacuation corridors are being expanded, and the consumers are not getting this energy? It's a very strong question, and that everybody has to put a thought to that so that it will be answered. Most often, in trying to go into details to answer this question, you begin to appoint accusing figures to one agency, to one operator, to one participant or the other, which we don't want to do. But it's up to every market participant to contribute his quota sincerely to making sure that the market is sustained. If the market is sustained, it's for the good of the country, it's for the good of the individual, it's for the good of everybody in this country, so that industrialization should, set in. If it sets in, you will not see our population running to South Africa only to be molested, or any other country where they go and be molested. That's what we are saying. If electricity is developed, look at what is happening in China. China is the highest consumer of electricity as well as the highest producer of electricity. Why can't we emulate the same thing and our countries will be developed?
That was an informative time with the GM Market Operations Engineer Edmond Eje. Keep a date with us next time for another insightful interview package. We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. We thank you for sticking with us on this program. Join us next week on the same station for a refreshing edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. See you next time.